The story of Japan, how it started and grew. The land of myths. Japan's origins are deeply rooted in mythology, beginning with the creation of the islands by the gods Izanagi and Izanami. According to the Kojiki, Japan's oldest chronicle, these deities gave birth to the islands and many other gods, setting the stage for a divine narrative. Their union brought forth Amaterasu, the sun goddess, whose descendants would become the emperors of Japan. The land itself, with its rugged mountains and fertile plains, was seen as a gift from the gods, making every aspect of the natural world sacred. These myths not only explain Japan's creation, but also instill a sense of divine destiny in its people, shaping their cultural identity. From these early tales, a culture deeply connected to nature and spirituality emerged, influencing rituals and daily practices. Festivals, ceremonies, and rituals often reflected these myths, celebrating the divine origins of the land. The reverence for nature seen today in Japanese culture can be traced back to these ancient beliefs. The islands of Japan, according to legend, were the center of the world, created by gods who desired a beautiful and prosperous realm. This belief in a divine connection helped unify the early inhabitants, providing a shared heritage and purpose. Over time, these myths were recorded and passed down through generations, becoming integral to Japanese cultural heritage. Even in modern times, these stories hold a significant place in Japanese literature, art, and religious practice. They serve as a foundation for understanding the nation's history and the unique worldview that characterizes Japanese society. The Jomon period, 14,300 BCE. The Jomon period is Japan's earliest historical era, characterized by a hunter-gatherer lifestyle that persisted for thousands of years. The Jomon people are known for their distinctive pottery, which is among the oldest in the world, dating back to around 14,000 BCE. These early inhabitants lived in small, semi-permanent communities, relying on fishing, hunting, and foraging to sustain themselves. Settlements were often situated near rivers and coasts, where resources were abundant and easily accessible. Jomon society was relatively egalitarian, with little evidence of social hierarchy, and their spiritual practices included animism, the belief in the spiritual essence of natural objects and animals. Their pottery, often decorated with intricate cord patterns, reflects both functional and artistic aspects of their culture. These artifacts provide valuable insights into their daily lives, including cooking, storage, and ceremonial uses. The Jomon people also constructed pit dwellings, which offered protection from the elements and were typically clustered in small groups, suggesting a communal way of life. Excavations of Jomon sites have uncovered a variety of tools and ornaments made from stone, bone, and shell, indicating a rich material culture. The abundance of food sources allowed for a relatively stable and prosperous existence, enabling the Jomon people to develop complex societal structures over time. Despite their technological limitations, the Jomon demonstrated remarkable adaptability and resilience, traits that would continue to define Japanese culture. Their extensive use of natural resources showcases an early example of sustainable living, with a deep respect for the environment. The Jomon period laid the foundation for many cultural practices that would evolve and endure throughout Japan's history. The Yayoi period, 300 BCE, 300 CE. The Yayoi period marked a significant transformation in Japanese society, beginning around 300 BCE with the introduction of rice agriculture from the Korean peninsula. This transition to farming led to more permanent settlements and the development of social classes as communities became more complex and organized. Yayoi pottery was more advanced than Jomon pottery, reflecting new techniques and influences from the Asian mainland. The use of metalworking skills, particularly bronze and iron, revolutionized tools and weapons, facilitating agricultural productivity and warfare. These advancements facilitated the rise of powerful clans and a more stratified society as wealth and power became concentrated among the agricultural elite. As rice cultivation spread, the culture of Japan began to shift towards a more complex agricultural society with increased trade and interaction between regions. The construction of irrigation systems and rice paddies transformed the landscape, making agriculture the cornerstone of the economy. Social structures became more hierarchical, with clear distinctions between the ruling elite, warriors, and common farmers. This period also saw the emergence of larger, fortified villages, indicating a need for protection and organized defense. The influence of the Yayoi culture extended to religious practices, with new rituals and ceremonies reflecting the agricultural cycle. The Yayoi period laid the groundwork for the political and social developments that would shape early Japan. It introduced new technologies and cultural practices that would have a lasting impact on Japanese society. The period's end saw the rise of powerful regional chieftains, setting the stage for the subsequent Kofun period and the emergence of a unified Japanese state. The Kofun period, 300–538 CE. The Kofun period is named after the massive burial mounds, or Kofun, constructed for the elite, which began to appear around 300 CE. These keyhole-shaped tombs housed treasures and artifacts, reflecting the increasing wealth and power of the ruling class. The Yamato clan emerged as the dominant force during this period, laying the foundation for the Japanese imperial family. This era saw the introduction of Buddhism and other cultural influences from Korea and China, further shaping the developing society. Society became more centralized, with a stronger emphasis on hierarchy and governance as powerful clans vied for control and influence. The construction of Kofun marked a significant cultural and political shift in early Japan, symbolizing the consolidation of power and the establishment of a more unified state. These tombs, often surrounded by moats and decorated with Haniwa clay figures, provide valuable insights into the beliefs and practices of the time. The Kofun period also saw the development of advanced metalworking techniques, with the production of elaborate weapons and armor for the warrior elite. The influence of continental cultures introduced new technologies, artistic styles, and religious practices, enriching the cultural landscape of Japan. The Yamato rulers adopted these foreign elements, integrating them into their own traditions and establishing a unique Japanese identity. This period of cultural fusion and political consolidation set the stage for the subsequent Asuka period, during which Buddhism would play a central role in shaping Japanese society. The Kofun period represents a critical phase in Japan's early history, marked by significant social, cultural, and political developments that would have a lasting impact on the nation's identity. The Asuka period, 538–710 CE. The Asuka period was marked by the official introduction of Buddhism, which had a profound impact on Japanese culture and politics. Prince Shotoku, a key figure during this time, promoted Buddhism and established a centralized government based on Chinese models. He authored the 17-article constitution, which outlined principles of governance and morality, emphasizing harmony and the welfare of the people. This period also saw the creation of Japan's first capital city, Asuka, which became a center of political and cultural activity. Art, architecture, and literature flourished under Buddhist influence, as temples and monasteries were built throughout the country. The introduction of Buddhism brought new ideas and practices, including advanced medical knowledge, artistic techniques, and philosophical concepts. Prince Shotoku's efforts to promote Buddhism and centralize authority laid the groundwork for the cultural and political development of Japan. The Asuka period was also a time of significant technological and agricultural advancements, as the influence of Chinese culture continued to permeate Japanese society. The construction of elaborate temples, such as the Horyuji, showcased the sophistication and craftsmanship of the time. The period saw the emergence of new social classes, with the rise of a powerful aristocracy and the establishment of a bureaucratic system to manage the affairs of the state. These developments contributed to the overall stability and prosperity of the nation. The Asuka period represents a crucial phase in Japan's history, as it set the stage for the subsequent Nara period and the continued evolution of Japanese culture and society. The Nara period, 710–794 CE. The Nara period is characterized by the establishment of a permanent capital in Nara, modeled after the Chinese city of Chang'an in 710 CE. This era saw the consolidation of imperial power and the codification of laws as the central government sought to exert greater control over the provinces. The compilation of the Kojiki and Nihon Shoki, historical records of Japan, occurred during this time, preserving the myths, legends, and early history of the nation. Buddhism continued to flourish with the construction of monumental temples like Todaiji, which housed the great Buddha statue, symbolizing the influence of Buddhism on Japanese society. The period also saw advancements in agriculture, art, and literature as the capital became a hub of cultural and intellectual activity. However, political intrigue and power struggles began to emerge within the imperial court as rival factions vied for influence and control. The Nara period was marked by significant developments in infrastructure, with the construction of roads, bridges, and irrigation systems to support the growing population. The introduction of new agricultural techniques and crops contributed to increased productivity and food security. The period also saw the establishment of a formal education system with the creation of schools and the promotion of literacy among the elite. These advancements helped to create a more stable and prosperous society, laying the foundation for future growth and development. The Nara period represents a critical phase in Japan's history, as it set the stage for the subsequent Heian period and the continued evolution of Japanese culture and society. The Heian period, 794–1185 CE. The Heian period, often considered Japan's golden age, began with the relocation of the capital to Heian-kyo, modern-day Kyoto, in 794 CE. This era is renowned for its court culture, with aristocrats indulging in poetry, literature, and the arts. The Tale of Genji, written by Murasaki Shikibu, is a masterpiece from this period, offering a glimpse into the lives of the court elite. The Fujiwara clan dominated politics through strategic marriages and manipulation of the imperial family, creating a powerful aristocratic class. Buddhism and Shintoism coexisted, influencing architecture, religious practices, and daily life, with temples and shrines becoming central to community life. Despite cultural prosperity, the period saw the rise of samurai and regional military power, foreshadowing future conflicts. As the capital flourished, the lifestyle of the Heian aristocracy became increasingly refined and elaborate. Court life was governed by intricate rituals and etiquette, with beauty and aesthetics playing a crucial role. The development of kana syllabaries enabled more expressive Japanese writing, leading to a flourishing of poetry and personal diaries. Women, in particular, played a significant role in literature, with works like The Pillow Book by Sei Shonagon providing vivid descriptions of court life. However, the court's preoccupation with aesthetics and ceremony often led to neglect of practical governance. This disconnect allowed regional warlords to gain power, setting the stage for the rise of the samurai. The rise of the samurai. As the Heian period progressed, the imperial court's power waned, giving rise to regional warlords and samurai. These warrior elites, initially serving aristocratic families, began to assert their influence and establish their own domains. The Genpei War, 1180 to 1185, between the Taira and Minamoto clans marked a significant turning point as these powerful families vied for control over the imperial court. Minamoto no Yoritomo emerged victorious, establishing the Kamakura shogunate and becoming the first shogun. The samurai code, or Bushido, emphasized loyalty, honor, and martial prowess, shaping the values and conduct of the warrior class. This new warrior class reshaped Japan's political and social landscape, marking the end of the Heian period and the beginning of a new era of military rule. The samurai culture that emerged was characterized by strict discipline, rigorous training, and a deep sense of duty. Samurai were expected to serve their lords with absolute loyalty, even to the point of sacrificing their lives. This period saw the construction of fortified castles and the development of new military strategies and tactics. The samurai also adhered to Zen Buddhism, which emphasized meditation, self-discipline, and a focus on the present moment. This philosophy complemented their martial lifestyle and provided a spiritual foundation for their actions. The rise of the samurai brought stability to the regions they controlled, but it also introduced a new era of military conflicts and power struggles. The Kamakura period, 1185 to 1333 CE. The Kamakura period established the shogunate, a military government that ruled alongside the emperor. Yoritomo's rule marked the beginning of samurai dominance in Japanese politics, as the shogunate centralized power and established a feudal system. The period saw the spread of Zen Buddhism, which appealed to the samurai ethos of discipline and simplicity. The Mongol invasions of Japan, 1274 and 1281, were repelled, aided by the kamikaze or divine winds, which destroyed the Mongol fleets. These invasions solidified the samurai's role as defenders of Japan and reinforced the belief in divine protection. The Kamakura period ended with internal strife and the fall of the shogunate, leading to the rise of the Ashikaga shogunate. During the Kamakura period, the shogunate implemented a legal code known as the Joei Shikimoku, which emphasized loyalty, land tenure, and military service. This code provided a framework for resolving disputes and maintaining order among the samurai class. The Kamakura period also saw significant developments in Japanese art and culture, with the emergence of new forms of literature, theater, and visual arts. The influence of Zen Buddhism can be seen in the simplicity and austerity of Kamakura-era art and architecture. Despite the relative stability of the shogunate, the period was marked by constant threats from both external and internal enemies. The resilience of the samurai and their unwavering loyalty to their lords were key factors in maintaining the shogunate's power. The Muromachi period, 1336 to 1573 CE. The Muromachi period began with the establishment of the Ashikaga shogunate by Ashikaga Takauji in 1336. This era was marked by cultural achievements such as the development of No theater, the tea ceremony, and the flourishing of Zen Buddhism. However, it was also a time of political instability known as the Sengoku, or Warring States period. Powerful daimyo, feudal lords, fought for control, leading to widespread conflict and social upheaval. The Onin War, 1467 to 1477, further fragmented Japan, plunging the country into chaos and weakening the shogunate's authority. Despite the turmoil, the arts and culture continued to flourish, with the influence of Zen Buddhism permeating many aspects of daily life. The Ashikaga shoguns were known for their patronage of the arts and their efforts to promote cultural exchange with China. The construction of the Golden Pavilion, Kinkaku-ji, and the Silver Pavilion, Ginkaku-ji, in Kyoto exemplified the blending of Japanese and Chinese architectural styles. The tea ceremony, introduced by the Zen monk Murata Juko, became an important cultural practice, emphasizing simplicity, mindfulness, and appreciation of beauty. No theater, developed by Kanami and his son Zeami, combined elements of dance, drama, and music to create a unique and refined form of performance art. These cultural developments reflected the values of the samurai and the influence of Zen Buddhism. Despite the political instability, the Muromachi period was a time of great artistic and cultural achievement. The Sengoku period, 1467 to 1603. The Sengoku period was a time of relentless warfare and political fragmentation, as daimyo vied for power and control over their territories. This era saw the rise of notable figures such as Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa Ieyasu, who played crucial roles in the unification of Japan. Nobunaga began the process of unification, employing innovative military tactics and ruthless efficiency to defeat rival daimyo. Hideyoshi completed the unification but failed to secure a lasting legacy due to his sudden death and lack of a strong successor. Ieyasu triumphed at the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, establishing the Tokugawa shogunate and bringing an end to the Sengoku period. This period of constant conflict eventually paved the way for a more unified and stable Japan, as the power of the daimyo was consolidated under the shogunate. The Sengoku period also saw significant developments in military technology and tactics. The introduction of firearms, brought to Japan by Portuguese traders, revolutionized warfare and gave a strategic advantage to those who adopted them. The construction of massive stone castles, such as Himeji Castle and Osaka Castle, provided formidable defenses and symbolized the power of the ruling daimyo. The constant warfare and shifting alliances created an environment of uncertainty where loyalty and betrayal were common. Samurai warriors honed their skills on the battlefield, developing a reputation for their bravery and combat prowess. Despite the chaos, the period also saw economic growth, as merchants and artisans thrived in the castle towns that sprang up around the daimyo's strongholds. The Tokugawa period, 1603 to 1868. The Tokugawa period, also known as the Edo period, marked a time of peace, stability, and isolation under Tokugawa Ieyasu's rule. The shogunate established a rigid social order and closed Japan to foreign influence through the Sakoku policy, limiting trade and contact with the outside world. Edo, modern-day Tokyo, became the center of political power and culture, with a population that grew rapidly as the city developed into a bustling metropolis. The period saw the flourishing of the arts, including ukiyo-e woodblock prints, kabuki theater, and the development of haiku poetry. Despite the isolation, internal trade and commerce thrived, leading to economic prosperity and the growth of a merchant class. The Tokugawa period maintained peace for over 250 years, but eventually faced internal and external pressures for change. The social structure of the Tokugawa period was highly stratified, with the samurai at the top, followed by peasants, artisans, and merchants. This hierarchical system was designed to maintain order and prevent social mobility, ensuring the stability of the shogunate. The shogunate implemented strict regulations on dress, behavior, and occupation, reinforcing the rigid social order. Education became more widespread, with the establishment of terrakoya, temple schools, providing basic literacy and numeracy to commoners. The period also saw the rise of Neo-Confucianism, which emphasized loyalty, filial piety, and social harmony, aligning with the shogunate's values. Despite the rigid social structure, the period was marked by cultural and intellectual achievements, as well as economic growth. The arrival of the West. In the mid-19th century, Japan's isolation was challenged by Western powers seeking trade and influence. Commodore Matthew Perry of the United States arrived in 1853 with a fleet of warships, demanding that Japan open its ports to American vessels. The sight of Perry's black ships in Edo Bay caused a stir, as Japan had maintained a policy of isolation, sakoku, for over 2 centuries. The Treaty of Kanagawa, 1854, marked the end of Japan's isolationist policy, opening Shimoda and Hakodate to American trade and setting the stage for further treaties with Western nations. This period of forced interaction with the West exposed Japan to new technologies, ideas, and military threats. The internal dissatisfaction with the Tokugawa rule grew, leading to calls for reform and modernization among the samurai and merchant classes. The arrival of the West brought about significant changes in Japanese society, economy, and politics. The influx of Western goods and ideas challenged traditional Japanese values and lifestyles. The shogunate faced increasing pressure to modernize the military and adopt Western technologies to defend against potential threats. Intellectuals and reformers saw the need for change, advocating for the adoption of Western science, industry, and education. The opening of Japan's ports also led to economic instability, as the influx of foreign goods disrupted local markets. These changes created a sense of urgency for reform and modernization, setting the stage for the Meiji Restoration. The Meiji Restoration, 1868. The Meiji Restoration marked the end of the Tokugawa shogunate and the restoration of imperial rule under Emperor Meiji. This period saw a rapid modernization and westernization of Japan as the new government sought to transform the nation into a modern state capable of competing with Western powers. The slogan Fukoku Kyohai, rich country, strong military, encapsulated the goals of the Meiji leaders. The government abolished the feudal system, established a centralized bureaucracy, and encouraged industrialization. The Meiji Constitution, 1889, laid the foundation for a constitutional monarchy with a parliamentary system and legal reforms based on Western models. Education and military reforms were implemented to strengthen the nation, with compulsory education and conscription introduced. The Meiji government prioritized economic development, investing in infrastructure, industry, and technology. Railways, telegraph lines, and modern factories were built, transforming Japan's economy and society. The rise of zaibatsu, powerful business conglomerates, played a significant role in Japan's economic growth, with companies like Mitsubishi and Mitsui becoming dominant players in various industries. Urbanization accelerated as people moved to cities for work, changing the social fabric of Japan and creating a dynamic urban culture. The government also promoted cultural exchange, sending students and officials abroad to learn from Western countries and inviting foreign experts to Japan. This era of transformation positioned Japan as an emerging global power, capable of defending its sovereignty and pursuing its interests on the world stage. Industrialization and modernization under Meiji rule, Japan rapidly industrialized, building factories, railroads, and modern infrastructure. The government promoted technological advancements and adopted Western practices in various fields, transforming the nation's economy and society. Education reforms produced a skilled workforce, while military reforms created a powerful, modern army and navy. The rise of zaibatsu, powerful business conglomerates, played a significant role in Japan's economic growth, with companies like Mitsubishi and Mitsui becoming dominant players in various industries. Urbanization accelerated as people moved to cities for work, changing the social fabric of Japan. This era of transformation positioned Japan as an emerging global power. The government's focus on industrialization led to the development of new industries, such as textiles, shipbuilding, and steel production. These industries became the backbone of Japan's economy, driving growth and creating new employment opportunities. The rapid pace of industrialization also brought social challenges, including labor disputes, poor working conditions, and urban overcrowding. The government addressed these issues through social and labor reforms, improving the quality of life for workers and their families. The expansion of the transportation network facilitated the movement of goods and people, connecting rural areas to urban centers and promoting economic integration. This period of rapid change laid the foundation for Japan's emergence as a major industrial and military power in the early 20th century. Expansion and empire. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Japan sought to expand its influence and territory. Victories in the First Sino-Japanese War, 1894 to 1895, and the Russo-Japanese War, 1904 to 1905, established Japan as a formidable military power. The Treaty of Shimonoseki, 1895, and the Treaty of Portsmouth, 1905, granted Japan control over Taiwan, the Liaodong Peninsula, and southern Sakhalin. Japan's annexation of Korea in 1910 further expanded its empire, integrating Korea into the Japanese colonial system. The success of Japan's military campaigns bolstered national pride and demonstrated the effectiveness of its modernization efforts. However, Japan's imperial ambitions also led to tensions with Western powers and neighboring countries. The expansion of Japan's empire brought economic benefits, as new territories provided resources, markets, and labor for Japanese industries. The government implemented policies to exploit these resources and integrate the colonies into the Japanese economy. However, Japanese colonial rule was often harsh and oppressive, leading to resistance and unrest in the occupied territories. The Japanese government promoted the assimilation of colonial populations, imposing Japanese language, culture, and education. These policies aimed to create a unified empire under Japanese control, but they also generated resentment and resistance among the colonized peoples. The period of expansion and empire laid the groundwork for Japan's involvement in global conflicts and its eventual confrontation with Western powers. The Taisho period, 1912 to 1926. The Taisho period, named after Emperor Taisho, was a time of political and social change in Japan. The death of Emperor Meiji in 1912 marked the end of the Meiji era and the beginning of a new chapter in Japanese history. The Taisho era saw the rise of democratic movements and political parties, as well as increased participation in government by the middle class. The period was marked by significant cultural and intellectual developments, with the flourishing of literature, art, and theater. The Taisho democracy movement advocated for political reforms, including universal suffrage and the establishment of a more representative government. However, the period was also characterized by economic challenges and social unrest. Japan's involvement in World War I as an ally of the Entente powers led to economic growth and territorial gains. The war created new opportunities for Japanese industries, which expanded to meet the demands of the global market. However, the post-war period brought economic difficulties, including inflation, labor strikes, and political instability. The Great Kanto earthquake of 1923 devastated Tokyo and Yokohama, causing widespread destruction and loss of life. The government's response to the disaster included efforts to rebuild and modernize the affected areas, but the economic impact was significant. Despite these challenges, the Taisho period was a time of vibrant cultural and social change, laying the groundwork for future developments. The Showa period, 1926 to 1989. The Showa period, named after Emperor Showa Hirohito, was one of the most turbulent and transformative eras in Japanese history. It began with political instability and economic challenges as Japan grappled with the effects of the Great Depression and rising militarism. The invasion of Manchuria in 1931 marked the beginning of Japan's aggressive expansion in Asia, leading to increased tensions with Western powers. The Second Sino-Japanese War, 1937 to 1945, and Japan's participation in World War II as part of the Axis powers had devastating consequences. The Pacific War culminated in the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, leading to Japan's surrender and occupation by Allied forces. The post-war period was marked by significant political, social, and economic changes as Japan underwent a process of demilitarization and democratization. The new constitution, adopted in 1947, established a parliamentary democracy and guaranteed civil liberties. The U.S. occupation, led by General Douglas MacArthur, oversaw reforms in land ownership, labor rights, education, and industry. Japan's economy began to recover, aided by American financial and technical assistance, and the country embarked on a path of rapid industrialization and economic growth. The Japanese miracle of the 1950s and 1960s saw Japan emerge as a major global economic power, with advanced technology, manufacturing, and exports driving its success. The period also witnessed significant social changes as traditional values and gender roles evolved in response to modernization and urbanization. The post-war economic miracle, 1945 to 1970s. The post-war economic miracle transformed Japan into one of the world's leading economies. The government's focus on industrial policy, education, and infrastructure development played a crucial role in this transformation. Key industries such as automotive, electronics, and shipbuilding became the backbone of Japan's economy. The rise of global brands like Toyota, Sony, and Honda symbolized Japan's technological prowess and innovation. The period also saw significant improvements in living standards, healthcare, and social services, contributing to the overall well-being of the population. However, rapid economic growth also brought challenges, including environmental pollution, urban congestion, and social disparities. Japan's economic success was driven by a combination of factors, including strong government leadership, a highly skilled workforce, and a commitment to innovation and quality. The Keiretsu system of corporate alliances fostered collaboration and efficiency, while investment in research and development propelled technological advancements. The education system emphasized discipline, hard work, and academic excellence, producing a highly capable workforce. Trade policies and international cooperation facilitated Japan's integration into the global economy, allowing Japanese products to compete in international markets. The period also saw the establishment of social safety nets, including healthcare and pension systems, which improved the quality of life for many Japanese citizens. This era of prosperity and growth laid the foundation for Japan's status as a leading economic power. Environmental and social challenges. As Japan's economy grew, so did the environmental and social challenges associated with rapid industrialization. Air and water pollution became significant issues, with industrial waste contaminating natural resources and affecting public health. The government responded with environmental regulations and initiatives aimed at reducing pollution and promoting sustainable practices. Social challenges also emerged, including urban overcrowding, income inequality, and changes in family structures. The traditional multi-generational household model began to shift, with more nuclear families and individuals living alone. These changes brought about new social dynamics and challenges, requiring adjustments in policies and community support systems. The government implemented measures to address these challenges, including urban planning initiatives, public transportation improvements, and social welfare programs. Environmental awareness campaigns and technological innovations helped reduce pollution and promote sustainability. Community organizations and support networks played a crucial role in addressing social issues, providing assistance and fostering a sense of solidarity. Despite these efforts, the rapid pace of change created ongoing tensions and adjustments within Japanese society. The period highlighted the complexities of balancing economic growth with social and environmental well-being. The bubble economy and its burst, 1980s to 1990s. The 1980s saw Japan's economy reach unprecedented heights, driven by speculative investments and a booming real estate market. This period, known as the bubble economy, was characterized by rapid asset price inflation and excessive lending. Corporations and individuals alike invested heavily in real estate and stocks, creating an unsustainable economic bubble. However, by the early 1990s, the bubble burst, leading to a severe economic downturn. Asset prices plummeted, and many businesses faced bankruptcy, resulting in widespread financial instability and economic stagnation. The burst of the bubble economy had far-reaching consequences, including a prolonged period of deflation and slow economic growth known as the Lost Decade. The banking sector faced significant challenges, with many financial institutions struggling with bad loans and non-performing assets. The government implemented various measures to stabilize the economy, including financial bailouts, fiscal stimulus, and structural reforms. Despite these efforts, the economic recovery was slow, and the impact of the bubble burst continued to affect Japan for many years. The period also led to increased scrutiny of corporate governance and financial practices, prompting reforms aimed at improving transparency and accountability. Technological advancements and innovation. Despite the economic challenges of the 1990s, Japan continued to be a leader in technological advancements and innovation. The country made significant contributions to fields such as electronics, robotics, and information technology. Japanese companies like Sony, Panasonic, and Toshiba played a pivotal role in the development of consumer electronics, while advances in robotics positioned Japan at the forefront of automation and artificial intelligence. The government and private sector invested heavily in research and development, fostering a culture of innovation and technological excellence. Japan's commitment to education and research continued to drive technological progress, with universities and research institutions playing a key role in developing new technologies. The country's innovation ecosystem supported startups and entrepreneurs, encouraging the development of cutting-edge products and services. Technological advancements also had a significant impact on daily life, transforming how people communicated, worked, and entertained themselves. The rise of the internet and mobile technology further revolutionized Japanese society, connecting people and businesses in new and unprecedented ways. This period of technological innovation reinforced Japan's reputation as a global leader in science and technology, cultural renaissance, and global influence. The late 20th and early 21st centuries saw a cultural renaissance in Japan, with Japanese art, fashion, and pop culture gaining global recognition. Anime and manga became international phenomena, influencing entertainment and storytelling worldwide. Japanese fashion brands and designers made significant impacts on global trends, showcasing the creativity and innovation of Japanese culture. The popularity of Japanese cuisine, including sushi, ramen, and matcha, also spread worldwide, making Japanese culinary traditions a global favorite. Japanese culture's global influence extended to various fields, including music, film, and literature. Japanese filmmakers like Akira Kurosawa and Hayao Miyazaki gained international acclaim, while authors such as Haruki Murakami captivated readers around the world. The global appreciation of Japanese culture fostered a deeper understanding and interest in Japan's history, traditions, and contemporary society. Cultural exchanges and collaborations flourished, strengthening Japan's soft power and global presence. This cultural renaissance highlighted the unique blend of tradition and modernity that characterizes Japanese society, attracting visitors and enthusiasts from around the globe. Japan's role in international relations. In the post-war era, Japan emerged as a significant player in international relations, advocating for peace, stability, and economic cooperation. As a member of the United Nations and other international organizations, Japan contributed to global efforts in areas such as development aid, disaster relief, and environmental conservation. The country maintained strong alliances with Western powers, particularly the United States, while also building diplomatic relationships with neighboring Asian countries. Japan's foreign policy emphasized economic diplomacy, trade partnerships, and regional security cooperation. Japan's commitment to international peace was reflected in its constitution, which renounced war and prohibited the maintenance of military forces for aggressive purposes. Despite this, Japan maintained a self-defense force for national security and participated in United Nations peacekeeping missions. The country also played a key role in regional economic forums such as the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, APEC, and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. Japan's economic and technological contributions, along with its diplomatic efforts, positioned it as a respected and influential global partner. This active role in international relations underscored Japan's commitment to contributing to global stability and prosperity. The Heisei period, 1989 to 2019. The Heisei period, marked by the reign of Emperor Akihito, saw significant social, economic, and political changes in Japan. The era began with the burst of the bubble economy and the challenges of the lost decade, but it also witnessed recovery and modernization efforts. Technological advancements and cultural achievements continued to shape Japanese society, while demographic changes and aging population posed new challenges. The Heisei period was also characterized by natural disasters, such as the Great Hanshin Earthquake, 1995, and the Great East Japan Earthquake and Tsunami, 2011, which tested the resilience and unity of the Japanese people. The Heisei period saw significant reforms in various sectors, including education, healthcare, and labor. The government implemented policies to address the aging population and declining birth rates, promoting family support and work-life balance initiatives. Technological innovation remained a key driver of economic growth, with advancements in robotics, artificial intelligence, and renewable energy. Japan also continued to play an active role in international relations, advocating for peace, environmental sustainability, and economic cooperation. As the Heisei era came to a close, Japan reflected on its achievements and challenges, preparing for the next phase of its journey under a new emperor. The Reiwa period and future prospects, 2019-present. The Reiwa period began with the abdication of Emperor Akihito and the ascension of his son, Emperor Naruhito, in 2019. This new era, meaning beautiful harmony, reflects Japan's aspirations for peace, prosperity, and cultural richness. The Reiwa period has already witnessed significant events, including the hosting of the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, delayed to 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and ongoing efforts to address economic, social, and environmental challenges. Japan continues to navigate the complexities of a rapidly changing world, leveraging its technological prowess, cultural heritage, and innovative spirit. The Reiwa period presents opportunities for Japan to further its global influence through diplomacy, trade, and cultural exchange. The government is focused on addressing demographic challenges, promoting sustainability, and fostering innovation to ensure long-term prosperity. The resilience and adaptability of the Japanese people remain key strengths as the nation faces future uncertainties. Japan's commitment to peace, environmental stewardship, and international cooperation continues to guide its actions on the global stage. As the Reiwa era progresses, Japan's journey reflects a blend of tradition and modernity, honoring its rich history while embracing the future. The story of Japan, marked by resilience, innovation, and cultural richness, continues to inspire and captivate the world. Our journey through time comes to an end for today. We embark on new adventures every week. If you relish the experience, please like and subscribe.